Globalism ideology pertains to global world order. You could argue one world government, one world currency, global citizenry, open borders, no borders. So the flip side of this is sovereignty, Canadian sovereignty. Under globalism ideology, sovereignty would be eroded. Another flip side would be Canadian citizenry, but that would be eroded and replaced by global citizenry. And hopefully you, and I know we can see this going on in Canada. It's been going on for decades. In our opinion, all the mainstream parties in Ottawa are behind a globalism ideology, though on the surface they pretend to be following other ideologies. We believe globalism ideology, especially in the West, is co-opting other ideologies and religions to divide, distract, silence, to erode traditional values, cultural norms, national sovereignty. We can see this taking place all over the West. But we believe the root ideology behind this is globalism ideology, which is connected to the United Nations. And globalists like George Soros, the Koch brothers, and other globalists. A good way to look at globalism ideology, think global. And if we compare it to nationalism, think local. So one of them is focused on global, the other is focused on local. Globalized economy, globalized political system. This is globalism ideology. And this is why there's a lot of tension in Canada, because the mainstream parties are acting as globalists. They're trying to globalize the political system versus a national economy with global international aspects, a national political system. And it should be noted here, globalists falsely claim that nationalism has no international cooperation in its ideology. That is outright false. And we believe cultural Marxism is used by globalists to undermine traditional societies, to create division, to wreak havoc on the values of a country, on the cultural norms. And what it is, in a nutshell, is revolution through what's called cultural inversion. And this is where you're flipping society upside down. All the norms of society are flipped upside down. And what it's called is, quote, a long march through the institution. Libertarianism. It supports an aggressive free market system that would invariably support monopolies and oligopolies, where the big fish eats the little fish, no regulation, almost anything goes, minimal support for social programs whatsoever. The rich get richer because they had an advantage to begin with to leverage their ambitions. The poor are left to sink and die. Libertarians like the Koch brothers support globalist trade, exploitation of first and third worlds, open borders, mass immigration, exploitation of cheap labor, including temporary foreign workers, illegal migrants, while native workers, many Canadians, are left jobless. Populism is a political approach that supports ordinary people who feel that their concerns are disregarded by the establishment, so-called elite groups. Populism and nationalism are the greatest threat to globalism worldwide, which is why the globalist establishment is trying to create the facade that their globalist candidates are populists too. And just to touch on this further, the one area where Maxime Bernier is being particularly misleading when he claims to be a libertarian and a populist simultaneously. People who are gullible enough to believe this have no understanding of political ideology or his political connections and past performance, such as his ties to the Koch brothers. Libertarianism is diametrically opposite of populism. Libertarianism is all about unregulation, self-interest, the big fish eating the small fish, and populism is about the common person and doing what's best for our country, our society. Conservative equals liberal, liberal equals conservative, equals globalist. By at least 1968, the conservative and liberal political forces in Canada has merged into a single globalist force with other multi-controlled mainstream opposition. The important point to remember, the false left-right is just a divisive game. The false liberal conservative is just a divisive game. We posted a policy comparison a couple of weeks ago. We posted one today. It shows in those comparisons that there is no difference between those mainstream National parties. Citizens Alliance is truly populist, nationalist. We stand in full opposition to the globalist mainstream parties. Elect National Citizens Alliance 2019 to save Canada.